Beijing, China on Tuesday declined to provide details about the detention of an Australian journalist working as an anchor for state TV who has been detained for at least 2 weeks without charge. Cheng Lei, an anchor for CTET, China's English-language state broadcaster, has been held since at least August 14, but Australian diplomats say Beijing has given no reason for her detention. A foreign ministry spokeswoman in Beijing batted away questions over the fate of the China-born journalist, who enjoyed a high profile as a business news presenter on CTET. "I can't give you any specifics," Hua Chuning told reporters. "But you know China is a country governed by law. We will handle things according to the law." Cheng's case is the latest to fray relations between Beijing and Canberra, which have withered over trade, security concerns about Chinese tech and Australia's push for a probe into the origins of the coronavirus pandemic. Cheng has not been seen in public since being held, although Australian envoys in Beijing were able to speak to her on August 27. There are fears she could face a prolonged period of detention after reports in Australian media said she was being held under residential surveillance. "Our concerns for Mississippi Cheng are genuine and real," Simon Birmingham, Australian Minister for Trade, Tourism and Investment told ABS News on Tuesday. Free media advocates also called for full information on her case. Chinese authorities should disclose their reasons for holding her, release her immediately, the Committee to Protect Journalists said, calling China the world's leading jailer of journalists. The detention of Cheng, who conducted interviews with international CEOs for CTS Global Business and BizTalk shows, has also sent shockwaves through China's foreign journalist community. While the cause of her detention remains a mystery, she has written a number of Facebook posts critical of Chinese President Xi Jinping and the Chinese government's approach to the coronavirus outbreak. One post poked fun at Xi's visit in March to Wuhan, the COVID-19 ground zero. "The big story today, dear leader's visit," triggered titters in the newsroom, waving to a big TV screen showing the coronavirus hospital in Wuhan apparently equals a visit. In China, "I serve the people," it goes the slogan sick. "The reality is the opposite," she wrote. Cheng also praised on Facebook a censored interview with Ai Fen, a doctor who sounded an early alarm about the new virus in Wuhan. She has also spoken openly about domestic violence, including at a Union Women China event in Beijing last year. China has ramped up its rhetoric against Australia since Canberra called for a probe into the outbreak. A senior Beijing envoy last week equated the push for a global inquiry to the betrayal of Julius Caesar by Brutus, registering the indignation, anger and frustration felt by China at Australia. China has also bristled at Australia's invocation of national security as a reason for investigations into foreign interference at its universities. It has been accused of retaliating with a litany of trade measures, including probes into alleged dumping of Australian wines, suspending beef imports, and warnings to its citizens against travelling to Australia. Chinese customs said Tuesday they had suspended barley imports from Australia's largest grain firm Beach Group, and revoked its export license, after apparently detecting a large number of pests in its produce. Such acts fit a pattern of coercive diplomacy, according to a report by the Australian Strategic Policy Institute (ASPI). Cheng is the second high-profile Australian citizen to be detained in Beijing after writer Yang Hengjun was arrested in January 2019 on suspicion of espionage. Earlier this year, Australia warned its citizens they faced the risk of arbitrary detention if they travelled to China. AFF attempted to contact Cheng through WeChat and did not get any response. "She's really warm, very bright. Very generous," a friend of Cheng's told AFF, requesting anonymity.